Welcome back to the Fitness and Family Podcast. I am your host, Ashley, and I'm very excited for our new guest. So, we are going to jump right into it. Jenna is a married mom of four boys under the age of 7 living in Georgia. Movement has always been a part of her life, but after her second baby, her body told her a different story. As she struggled with her physical and mental health, her decision to listen to her body instead of what doctors were having her try was the turning point. I can't wait for you to hear her personal story and the desire to not give up when finding answers. Welcome, Jenna, and thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right. So I know I did a quick introduction for you, but let's get a little bit deeper. So why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Okay. Yes, like you said, I have four boys. They are now 8, 7, 4, and 8 months. Um, Obviously, if you do the math, I had them pretty quickly, especially those first two. They're 16 months apart. And really, I think things got hard for me when I had my third. Um, Things really changed for my health and both physically and mentally. And there were things that I went through that time that I hadn't experienced with my first two, a little bit with my first, but so I was aware of it, but it just I didn't bounce back, so to say, as fast as I expected to. And especially being younger, it's not like age was against me or anything like that. But I was very frustrated as to why my body and my mind and my hormones and all the things were not doing what I thought they should do, with the time that kept passing and passing and passing. And so that led me to taking matters into my own hands, which is what I do because I'm very stubborn and I believe there's a solution to everything and there's a cause for everything. Whether we figured the answer out or not yet doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I will do my darndest to figure that out, and won't stop until I do. So that led me on a journey of kind of eye-opening some things with doctors and medicine and health and how I'm treated and what I can and cannot do, and that I can speak up for myself and doctors work for me, not the other way around. Um, and led into a lot more than I anticipated with my next son and my next birth and postpartum experience. And now I love helping other women with that too today.
Awesome. I love that. And I love how you said the term bounce back because I feel like that's what society does to women. They feel like we should just be able in 3 months, and
Mhm.
if you have the shorter maternity leave, I just don't even understand that, let alone when you have a C-section too, which when I had that, I was just like, cool, let's just do it. I'm done being pregnant. I didn't enjoy it. But
Yeah.
then the more that I actually probably learned about having a C-section, which I was, like you said, finding the doctors that will actually listen to you and actually
Mhm.
want to help you. And
Mhm.
I kind of wish, because you never plan it. No one's like, I'm going to plan a C-section. Maybe a few kids down the road, but I wish
Mhm.
something that your doctor would kind of prepare you for. Like if you have to have one, this is what it's going to entail.
Yeah.
Because when I come to find out, I'm like, oh, apparently a C-section is probably one of the most intense surgeries and you're awake for it.
Right.
I just
Right.
never came to term with that until I saw this one Facebook post that my friend shared. And I'm like, oh yeah. And the recovery is not so cool. So the whole bouncing back thing, yeah, that's not cool whatsoever
Mhm.
how we're pushed to
Mhm.
that. And I'm so happy that we're going to be kind of diving a little bit deeper into your different pregnancy story, your mental health, physical health, and what you have learned from it just to
Mhm.
help everybody else. So let's get into this. And oops, I don't know what just happened with this computer. Okay, so we're going to talk further into your mental health because you talked about four kids under 7. I believe it was your second to third pregnancy. Those two is not what you expected. Um,
Mhm.
all right, so you got three toddler boys and you have another boy that's under a year old. So how do you stay grounded when at times it feels like everything is falling apart around you? Your husband works, and we all know that boys can argue. They
Yeah.
can be feisty things.
Yes. Um, I feel like with each, like this, the first two, because they were so close in age, I felt like I got to a point. fairly quickly were like, okay, I got 202, like I can handle this. Anything else is like I felt confident in that, I guess. And I think there was a positive to them being so close in age that it was kind of like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. We were kind of going through the same seasons very quickly with both of them. Um, so when I was pregnant with my third, while I had both of them at those toddler ages,
Hmm.
physically that was very demanding at the towards the end, because they're still at the age where like they want you to pick them up or hold them, or I need to go chase after them and grab them, and it
Oh,
got
geez.
when
Mm.
you get like bigger, it's challenging, or you're in pain or whatever to do those
Hmm.
things. And so being physically limited was very mentally frustrating. And it was very hard at the end to like not resent my husband and
Oh my.
just being frustrated that I couldn't control what I wanted to control,
Mhm.
was hard. And then um the transition with my oldest, I think 4 was hard for us with having a new baby. At the time, my other one was about 2.5, a little older than that. And it didn't phase him one bit that we had a baby. But my 4-year-old really struggled at the time, my oldest when he was 4, when the third came along. So that battle of, okay, now I've got to, and I never really had to deal with that because when he had his younger brother, he was 16 months. Like there was no
Gotcha.
transition of let me prepare you for a new baby. Like he loved
Yep.
on him and adapted so
And then their
quickly.
personalities were developing too with your older one.
Yes.
So that was
Yes.
so
So
then
when you get in
that
those
made it
older
challenging.
toddler years, it's a lot of emotions
Mhm.
and acting out, and then you're newly postpartum and you're emotional and you got a baby screaming, and it's overstimulation times a billion. And you feel
Deprived.
gross. You feel gross. You're not in your own body. Like it was summertime, so they were out of school. It was hot. I was home alone all day with all 3 of them, and it was very depressing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so I think once I had my fourth, now it's just like organized chaos. Like I
I
I
love that
feel so much better mentally, but like my house is a wreck, but also we are on the go all the time because we're just living our life. And so when I get moments to kind of take back my sanity, I do. But I'm much more aware of it now. I think like I don't know if I will be at the state I want to be in until like they're all in full-time school, which will be several years from now. But
right.
doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just I have very high standards. But I've learned to lower my standards and be okay with reality of what I've got going on. That I've got 4 boys, 8 and under, and one being a baby, and so
Yeah.
it's just this is my life, and that's okay. We are in sports in school, and um, there are certain like I have to rearrange my priorities a little bit, and I think you can accept reality without like being complacent too. Like I can accept here's my reality, but not be okay with it, so that I can
Mhm.
still want to improve it, but not just be like, oh, this is my life. I'll just wait till my baby's in kindergarten and in school all day, which is going to be several years from now, to start doing something about it. Like I still do what I can when I get the time. I just give myself grace of like, you know, you've got a lot on your plate and you're doing what you can when you get those moments. But when you don't, like, don't beat yourself up over it because, there are more important things. Like I focus really more on making sure they have consistent sleep and good schedules and their health is okay and my health is okay. And I spend more time on like making sure we've got good groceries and food and supplements and things in our home versus like a perfectly clean playroom, you know. So
Right.
I just learned
Right.
to prioritize what's important, and also knowing that I have boys, and if I clean up while they're around me, it's probably just going to get trashed right then anyways. So
Within seconds, they look at you, and then anything like
yes.
pretty that you put together, it's like the tornado enters
Mhm.
the room. So me just having one, I can just imagine with four, and when they go into their pairings, possibly, since you have four, even though the one's very small, but just it's
Mhm.
like they know. They know how to
Mhm.
push your buttons.
Mhm.
Um,
They do.
let me let me ask a quick question because I always kind of wonder about this one when it comes to having, I have not experienced multiple kids, but you have. So in terms of with each pregnancy, being a little different, with the middle ones being more challenging, how you carry your baby. Because I feel like after you give birth, how the body, tries to kind of get back into not shape, but just
Mhm.
naturally losing the weight. So did you carry each pregnancy the same with
No.
your body, or were they different? Because I know there's the ones that carry them, probably not saying this right, but carrying them out, where it's almost like
Mhm.
your hips get
Mhm.
bigger, and then there's the ones that carry them forward.
Yeah.
So what were yours like in terms of the actual like carrying the baby?
I feel like some of them were pretty similar with the out more like it's really just my second was my favorite and I carried him forward. Like looking
Mhm.
from behind, who had no idea I was pregnant. He probably because of that gave me really bad stretch marks because he was a 9 pound baby.
Ah,
He was 9 pounds and 21 and a half inches, and I'm not a big person. So he did stretch my skin pretty good, which sucks. But I was very healthy in his pregnancy. I ran up until 29 weeks. Like I said, you couldn't see from the back. You had no idea I was pregnant. I didn't really look it in my face that bad till like the very end a little bit more, but it really wasn't that bad. My other ones, two of them are May babies. So I think the season has something to do with it too. Like, we're more sedentary during the winter months sometimes, and, or we're outside more in the summer, or if we're super pregnant in the summer, we avoid outside because it's hot. Like, so I think a lot of that has something to do with it. So those two pregnancies, I feel like I carried kind of similar, except my first was better for sure in the beginning because he was my
mhm,
first, like my body never done it before. It was
mhm.
towards the end where I got kind of, I wouldn't say lazy, but like I kind of
You were
used
at the end.
I kind of took advantage of some pregnancy stuff a little bit. At the very end, it did swell up a little bit.
Okay.
But for the beginning part, like it was all basketball straight with him. With my
Hmm.
third, it was a gradual into the swelling. And then with my fourth, I was fine literally until the third trimester. And I got really, really, that was probably the worst. I was on my way to being preeclamptic.
Wow.
When I delivered him, they checked my levels and it was like the day of, and they said, "Oh, you're basically like on your way there, like you're right on the cusp of that number."
Mhm.
Um, and so I had like pitting edema. I don't know if you know what that is.
I do not. I've
We like
heard it.
press the skin and it doesn't go back, like it stays
Oh,
indented. That was so puffy. My blood pressure was high and everything. I didn't deal with that with any of the other three. It was just like the normal swelling at the end. This was bad, really, really bad. So that was my biggest thing with him and how I carried him compared to the other ones.
wow. It's so interesting how they can all be different from each other. I just had to ask you that because, like I said, I've never been through it. I know some of our listeners, I'm sure everybody has a unique story. So it's always interesting to hear what
Mhm.
women have gone through with multiple pregnancies. All right. So in our previous conversation, we talked about how you got introduced to Plexus
Mhm.
and what that did for you. So kind of go into, you know, you were going to doctors, you were trying to get answers,
Mhm.
and how that branched you into hearing about Plexus.
It was kind of accidental at the very end, but my journey in the beginning was, like I said, after my third, I was not losing the weight like I should have. I was still looking very early postpartum, and it had been months and months and months and months and months past. And if you can't tell already by our conversation, like health is important to me. I'm
Mhm.
very active. I care about what I eat. I care about how I sleep, like all that kind of stuff. So I was doing what I could with three kids at the time to kind of ramp up that process and make it a little faster. I thought, okay, if I wean, maybe my hormones will rebalance and then it'll all fix itself because that's what had happened after my first two. And a month went by, and I'm like, okay, it should be just 2 months went by, nothing, 3 months. And I'm like, okay, something's off. Like this isn't right. So I was like went down a Google rabbit hole and thought, okay, I have hypothyroidism. Like that's got to be it. So I went to the OB and I was like, can you check my thyroid? And she only checked my TSH, which is very small part of your thyroid. She did not check the rest of it. Um, and she's like, well, it can't be that because, um, like you're not basically like you're not in menopause, you're not older, like it can't be any of these
Right.
things. It's like she kind of looked at me as though like I wanted to be skinny and I was already skinny enough in her eyes. So it was just like a vain thing. So like, why you want to lose weight type of deal.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I knew where I was supposed to be. I knew my baseline and I wasn't healthy and I knew something was up and I just basically got dismissed. And I was like, okay, that was a waste of an appointment. So then I went
Mhm.
down the whole rabbit hole of like functional medicine because I'd heard things about it, but I knew insurance doesn't cover it. It's pricey. Um, and I did learn a lot for sure, but I still wasn't getting quite the answers I needed.
Mhm.
Um, for me, I was really dealing with like severe bloating. I did like a so many different tests. I even did a food intolerance test and a food allergy test, and like 14 things popped up. But I never, at least to my knowledge in the past, had never had allergic reactions to anything. So I'm like, I'm not allergic to any of this stuff. Like, why are these popping up? And it was random things. And she was like, leave these off for 3 months. I'm like, all these foods. So it
What
was
were
like
some of them?
like strawberries, potatoes, black tea. It was the most certain nuts, eggs,
Thing.
so many random different things. And it made me miserable because I was like reading labels of literally everything. Can't have that, can't have that, can't have that. I'm like, this to me,
You
something
were
isn't right.
mentally like going crazy at that point.
Yes, yes. And I'm like, okay, I know that God created these foods. So there's no way that there's something wrong with these foods. There's got to be something wrong with the environment the food is going into, which is me. So
Mm-hmm.
something's going on inside me to not be able to process these foods. Now, if you told me you don't eat like processed sugar and alcohol and caffeine and all that stuff, duh,
Right.
that would be the food. But
It has scientifically been shown that you should not be
yes, but
eating
like
that
things
stuff.
that man make, but things that God made that goes in the ground, like He gave it to us. That's what we were created to eat. So like, there's better versions of those things for sure. But okay, so I was like, all right, it's got to be something going on inside me. Like, what's going on? And so I had been following this girl for a while. I had never really seen her post about plexus before until then, but she posted one reel that said like, "Hey, if you have these symptoms," and she listed literally everything I was dealing with, and I had tried everything, spent money I didn't have, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try. This will be my last resort." And she told me it was 60-day money back guarantee. So I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, it doesn't work, and I don't lose money this time. Like, best case scenario, it's a lot cheaper and it works. And I finally feel good and I can lose this inflammation I was holding on from having him. And this was, I was 2.5 years postpartum at this time. Like by now something should change, when I'm doing all these other lifestyle changes and
This was after your
staying
second
healthy.
pregnancy, right?
Do I?
This was after your third pregnancy.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Yep.
understand you.
Oh, sorry. This was after your third pregnancy that you
Yes,
were
after my
into
third.
plexus. Okay, yeah. So before the fourth
Mhm.
one. Yep.
Yes. So then I tried it, and I know with natural things, like it can take a while to notice differences, but I noticed differences in like 2 weeks. So, like, okay,
Wow.
don't get your hopes up. You may be having a good day or two. Let's keep going. And then it just stayed like that, and it stayed like that. And stayed like they got a little bit better. And I was
What did you first notice?
like, bloating. Oh my
Bloating was
goodness.
the
Like,
first thing.
I was trying so hard to hide that was possibly pregnant again, which I wasn't. But
Yeah.
people around me know my history. I have kids fairly quickly, and they wouldn't be surprised if I had another one. So that was always there, like, "Are you pregnant again? Are you pregnant again?" And I did not want them to think that I was because I wasn't, and it was so embarrassing to like have a belly that was so distended, and I was so uncomfortable. Like I want to eat, but I didn't, and it was very frustrating. So being able to like actually wear the pants I wanted to wear and not have to like wear baggy clothes to hide it and everything, especially when I have a smaller frame, so it even shows even more. It's harder to hide that. Um, that was my first biggest change that I noticed, and then the inflammation going down. Like my eyes cleared up, which I didn't
Wow.
even think they were a problem, but you could just see it in my face, like that I was starting to heal.
That's awesome. What, because obviously I was introduced to plexus too, and I was kind of around the same route as you with it.
Mm-hmm.
Big thing is the losing weight, which I still struggle with, but I also had to, what you talked about prior is I had to find new doctors. Like this year, new family doctor, new dermatologist, new gynecologist, and we're finally getting some answers, or they're at least taking me in directions that's actually helping my body actually
Yeah.
feel better. But I would say for sure when it came to plexus, bloating was the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
100%. That did work. Now, there's so many products. So
Yeah.
what is the first product that you actually, or I shouldn't say the first, but actually, because sometimes it's not just one, sometimes it's packs. So what did you first try?
I did the triplex, which is what I personally pretty much recommend almost everyone start with because it's such a good foundation. You're pretty much all your health stems from your gut. So when you heal that, you heal your immune system, your hormones, even your mental health. Like everything is connected. So like if you're sick all the time, it's because of your guts. Something's up in there. If you got hormone imbalances, your gut, like it sends out the messages for all these things. Even in, like I said, mental health, anxiety and depression and things like that. Something's going on inside. Um, so that's where I, like I said, personally recommend people start with because it weeds, seeds, and feeds the bad and the good bacteria in your gut. So you're taking out all the bad crap, you're planting and feeding the good to grow back in there. So like I said, you can lose the weight, the bloating, the inflammation, balance your blood sugar, which is what it was created for, was diabetics in the very beginning. That was their
Oh,
purpose.
wow. I didn't even know that. See, you taught me
Mhm.
something about the product I've already been taking.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of, the talk about is now with GLP-1 and things like that, like insulin resistance, like blood sugar is huge, especially for inflammation and weight loss and so many other issues. Insulin is the master hormone. So like when you help heal that, like so many other things dissipate too. So that's what I started with the pink drink, which is the prebiotics, has the natural energy, curbs the cravings, gets rid of the bloating. And then the BioCleanse, which is what cleanses you. The magnesium supplement gets rid of all the nastiness. And then the Probio 5, which is so good for getting rid of candida and yeast,
Mhm.
which feeds a lot of bad stuff in our bodies. So when you clear that up, your immune system gets so much better, and sleep, and all the other things I mentioned too.
I do completely second to everybody listening what Jenna is saying. That pink drink is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. Even my husband tried it when we were on vacation because I take that pink drink with me everywhere I go. Because when we
Me
were
too.
in Florida last month and we just felt just drained. And I know that's not the objective of the pink drink. I did have hydrate too with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just adding those to your body, especially in the afternoon in that hot Florida sun, the leveling of the sugar imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
We picked up within 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We were good to go. And that
Yeah.
BioCleanse has been, I noticed with the BioCleanse too, that it does everything that magnesium truly. And I've talked to somebody else who was on my podcast a few months ago. She created her own supplement company. And I asked her, what are the supplements that women need, especially as we end, especially really after kids? I
Yeah.
mean, you can do it prior to kids or anything, but truly your body changes after kids. No matter if you go back to what you looked like before, it's inside. And that's why we're
Yes.
saying with
Yeah.
plexus, it's the gut. Would you call it the weed, seed, and feed? I love it. My pen
Mm-hmm.
died. I need to write that down later. I just need to have a backup pen because just how you're describing this stuff, you can go into science and whatnot, but when you keep it simple, which is so nice what Plexus does, it
Yeah.
really connects somebody. But yeah, that magnesium, that's what she said. Vitamin, fish oil, and are the main two, and then add magnesium for sure for
Mm-hmm.
women, especially
Mm-hmm.
after kids and you get into your 30s. I want to hit really quick on that triplex because I have personally not done it, but but I've heard it's always the first good thing to try with Plexus.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go into a little bit of how it works? Because I know obviously it's just not one product. It really and
Yeah.
truly what I have understood with supplements and with Plexus itself, one product is not going to solve all your issues. It
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
really is taking in different things, and it's not something like you have to take 5, 6 pills a day. That is not what it is whatsoever. So when I ever see these like supplements, like this is the one pill that works, no, it doesn't. It's not always going to be one pill that works. Or you see people with all of their like pill canisters, and I'm like, you don't need that much.
Yeah.
But let's
Yeah.
just dive really quick because we're going to be nearing the end of this. We have so much information, so much valuable information with your journey. But yeah, let's hit a little bit into the triplex.
Yeah. So, like I said before, and you said it's not that much at all. But when they work together, like obviously individually they're good products for sure too, but also these supplements aren't like the cure all because I was doing all the other things in addition to this. So that's what was holding me back from getting the results that I was doing. So you can't expect to just like live a crappy lifestyle, but take supplements and fix your crappy lifestyle. Supplements are like an addition. They're to supplement what you're already doing. So I just don't want to make a claim that like it's going to fix all your issues. But if you are doing the things or you're at least attempting to, like what I noticed personally is I was trying so hard to eat healthy and I wasn't eating unhealthy, but I felt like something's wrong with me. Like, why can't I have more self-control, more discipline? And it wasn't that issue. It was something inside that was craving the junk. And I had to turn that craving off. And when I started noticing, like I would look at the foods that I normally would eat and like I would turn away like a sweet treat. And I have a huge sweet tooth. And like I'd never felt that before of what it was like to just look at something like, no, I don't want it. And I had turned it down on purpose out of strong willpower to like not eat it, but I really wanted it. But this was like, I actually didn't want it. I could smell it, I could see it. And it was like, no, I'm good. And I was totally fine without it. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I didn't realize how bad my cravings were till I started taking it, started getting rid of all that junk in my body. And like, it was so much easier for me to eat the healthier foods. So then I could see even more results, you know. So I just want to preface that, like, if you feel like you can't say no to things, it's not a discipline issue usually. It more than likely is something going on inside that there's bad bugs in there that are wanting you to keep feeding them. That's why you crave certain things. You know, you're craving certain things because of what you got going on inside, good or bad. So yeah, I just drink the pink drink every day. It's 30 to 60 minutes before a meal, and it helps curb those cravings. It helps reduce the bloating, balance the blood sugar, all of that. I'm a hypoglycemic, and I haven't had hardly any episodes of my blood sugar just tanking after going a few hours without food in a long time since starting this. So, and mine used to tank very quickly. Like it was all of a sudden I'm getting that
You
feeling like
feel
I'm
it
about to
like
pass
just
out.
boom, it hits you.
Yeah. And
Good.
I used to always have to have snacks with me. Like I don't have to snack anymore. And I can go much longer and feel fine. So that's one plus. And then I take the bio cleanse in between a meal with 8 ounces of water. And then I take the Pro 5 at night before I go to bed because it works best when you are still. It can really
Okay.
heal. And if you get good sleep, that's when everything's healing. Your brain, your gut,
Yes.
everything is working while you're resting. So the more sleep you get, the more restful sleep, this will help you with restful sleep, the more
Mm,
results you'll see too.
awesome. Awesome. And 100% I agree with all that just from my past. I've been on it since I would say ooh, December, November, December last year. So I'm not a full year in to just
Okay.
doing pink drink, bio cleanse, and then I do the vital biome. Those are my three main things that I take. I take the vital in the morning, the pink drink usually in the afternoon, and then the bio cleanse right before dinner, I would say for sure.
Nice.
So I love that. Well, this is great. I appreciate you so much for talking about your journey, how you got through it, incorporating the plexus. So I have one last question for you. And it's if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? And same for your future self.
Hmm. On anything?
Anything.
Uh, um, my younger self, don't believe everything you're told at, as fact. Do your own research. And don't feel pressured to make any decision until you feel confident in it. And it's okay to change your mind as you learn, because we're always learning new things. And future self, oh, I don't know. I'm not good at that one.
It's so hard because you're thinking like right now, like this is what I have to do after this podcast.
Do
It's
what?
so hard to think future when your life is so busy.
Yeah, I don't know what future self, because you always think like, oh yeah, past. This is what I've learned here. I'll teach
Yeah.
you. Gosh, I don't know. Quit stressing over like the little things
Yeah.
that don't matter, but do stress over the little things that do matter.
Well,
Don't
that's
take
good.
those for granted.
No, I love it. Well, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much, Jenna. So where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, just my name, Jenna Hodge. Yeah, that's it.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Fitness and Family Podcast. I appreciate it so much. So go ahead, do me a favor, subscribe to the podcast. Go ahead and download this episode. We have talked about so much. And if you want more information about Plexus from Jenna, I will include her link in the description and you can reach out to her. You can reach out to me with my little knowledge, but we all have little our bodies all experience different things. So by all means, reach out to both of us. So thank you again, and I will see you on the next episode. All right, bye.
Hi, thank you.